Hi, Karate Illuminati, this is Noah, and today I wanted to talk about a training exercise you can do with your kata to not only make things more interesting, especially with everybody being stuck at home and having to do a lot of solo training, but also to give yourself a lot more of an in-depth look at the kata and its potential. And it's a really simple thing. At first, it seems like just repetition, and it is, and it isn't. So if we take Nahanshi Shodan, for example, you would not just run the kata, you would do every single movement of that kata, let's pick a number, 3 times. And each time you're going to try and do it a little differently. Not changing the kata exactly, but changing the mechanic being used. So, for example, let's take this portion of the kata. You can start however you normally do, and let's say that's just throwing it as a simple ridge hand out this way. And it just whips with your hip in that direction, followed by this driving the elbow across. Start with it the normal way you typically do it, but then explore other ways to get your hand to here, different ways to generate power for it. For example, instead of turning my hip this way to throw it, maybe I pull it back first and then do more of a thrust with that side of my body to throw this out. Or maybe I do the same thing with my hip, but instead of just throwing this to where it goes, maybe I reach and pull so it goes out and then back in. And same thing with your elbow. So you've done 1, 2, 3, right? Then you can go into your elbow. Maybe it's normally just from here, a natural elbow across. Maybe you want to come up more with it. Maybe you want to come down more with it and play with different angles. Same thing from here. Maybe you just pull typically. Well, you can work on reaching and pulling, or you can work on reaching and pulling to the side, or maybe even something larger this way, and then across and across. Again, maybe it's a 1, 2 situation. Maybe it's 1, 2 following each other. Maybe it's thrusting this down and shooting that back. So again, these are just some simple examples from a simple kata, but there's a lot to unpack there. And you can do that with any of your kata. Play with the paths of motion, play with the body mechanics generating power, play with the timing, play with the hand formations even. Something that is normally a fist, make it a spear hand, a palm, an elbow. Play with little alterations to these pieces of kata and just do it in sequence. So work first movement 3 times, then the second movement 3 times, third movement 3 times, and so on as you go through the kata. And it'll just give you a chance to really break down different options, and then you can start to mix and match what feels good to you.